Hello everyone, hope you all are doing great. Welcome to Homeschooling with Hira. In today's video, we shall learn all about passive and active voice. And when I say all about passive and active voice, I really mean it. So be with me to the end of the video if you are interested in this topic. Our learning objectives are to understand the concept and importance of the use of both voices. After learning this, you will be able to identify the uses of passive and active voice and the importance of each depending on the context, right? The second LO learning objective is to distinguish between passive and active voice in sentences. It means that you will be able to look at text and distinguish between the two. So there's so much to learn in today's video. I hope you will be with me to the end. And before moving any further, I would request you to click the like button. If haven't subscribed, subscribe to the channel because you will find such useful stuff here always. The second thing that I want to share with you is the content outline so you don't get confused that what I'll be teaching you. So first of all, I'll tell you the function of passive and active voice, then active and passive voice usage, sentence structures, examples, when to use which voice, and at the end we shall have a quiz. You can see there is so much to explore, so without any further ado, let's dive in. So first let's simply check out that what is a voice. When we write a sentence in English, it can either be in active voice or passive voice. It's nothing but the structure of the sentence. For example, if you write a simple English sentence, you write a subject plus verb plus object. This is the basic sentence structure. For example, this sentence, the cat chases the ball. In this sentence, we have subject, the cat. What she does? She chases. This is a verb. She chases what? She chases a ball. So, in simple English sentences, or let's say in active voice sentences, the subject of the sentence is the doer of the action as well. Means the cat is the subject, so it is doing something, that is the action of chasing, right? And this action is received by an object, that is the ball, right? So subject means who or what is doing the action. Verb is the action itself, and object is the receiver of that action. So in this sentence, the cat chases the ball. Cat is performing an action and the object is just receiving the action of cat. That's chasing. Okay? So we use active voice sentences or active voice structure when we want to talk about our subject and what is it doing. On the other hand, in passive voice sentences, we just flip the sentence. Now the subject is no more the doer of the action. The subject, that is the ball here now, because we have flipped, the object has become the subject. Our previous sentence was the cat chases the ball, right? So here the cat was our subject and the ball was our object. But in this sentence, this is a passive voice example. What has happened? That the ball that is doing nothing has become the subject. It means our subject is not the doer of the action anymore. It's not performing any action. The action is still here, is chased, but now it is transferred to the subject of the sentence, the ball. The ball is doing nothing, but it is now being acted upon by the verb, right? In this sentence, the verb chases is transferring its action to the object, the ball. In this passive voice sentence, the action is transferred to the subject, that is the ball. It might sound a little complicated, but let's keep it like this, that in passive voice, the object that receives the action come at the beginning. it is positioned first, and the doer of the action comes either at the end, or we can simply omit it if we don't want to mention. The ball is chased. If you want to tell by whom, you can say by the cat. If you don't want to tell by whom, you can just make a full stop. In the next slides, we will see some examples where it is just not necessary to mention that who is doing the action. So we simply omit this part by someone or something, right? But here we can just say the ball is chased by the cat. The simple thing to remember about passive voice, that in passive voice the subject is not doing anything, right? Just keep patience. In the next few examples, you will understand this much better. Let's check out our next slide. The usage. When do we use active voice and when do we use passive voice? So let's first talk about active voice. The active voice gets straight to the point and tells us who did what, right? Subject, verb, object. Who did what? In this voice, the sentence subject performs the action. Here are two examples in active voice. Shara likes bird watching. She loves movies, right? In both sentences, we have a subject, verb, object, subject, verb, object. These are the examples of active voice. In these sentences, the subject is important because it is performing an action, right? So you can use active voice. Now it's about the usage. You can use active voice when you want the reader to focus on the subject of your sentence and the action it is doing rather than on the action's target, right? So in both of these sentences, who is important? Shira, and the verb that she's doing. Shira likes bird watching. She loves movies, right? So our subject and the verb that she does is important. That's why we are using active voice here. Let's see the sentence structure of active voice. In the active voice, the subject of a sentence performs the action. It follows a clear construction that I have told you earlier as well. That's subject, verb, and object. Remember, objects are optional. Olivia complimented Anna. A simple example. If you want to see a sentence without object, so I can just give you this example. Do you drive a car? Yes, I drive. Now, in this sentence, we don't have any object. Yes, I is the subject, drive is the verb. I am not mentioning what I drive. But it's obvious that if somebody is asking, do you drive a car? I'm talking about a car. Got it? That's why I'm saying that you may or may not write an object in a straight sentence structure. Now let's talk about the usage of passive voice first and then how to make the sentences in passive voice. So we use passive voice when we want to show interest in the person or in the object that experiences an action rather than the person or object that performs the action. Sometimes, in some situations, the doer of the action is not important at all. We are only concerned about the work done or has the object received the action nicely. So if we are not interested or we don't want to talk about the doer of the action, we use passive voice. For example, a car was broken into on Elm Street last night. Now, a car, here its subject, was broken into, verb, on the Elm Street last night. This is the extension of the sentence. The main thing to focus here is that a car is not performing any action by itself. There must be somebody who was driving the car, but we are not mentioning that because the writer of this sentence might not know who was driving the car. So we can simply leave the doer of the action, that who did the action of breaking into, and we are making our sentence like this. A car was broken into on Elm Street last night. Who performed this action of broken into? We are not talking about that. Okay? Cash was stolen from the register. Now, cash itself is not doing any action. It is something that is still. Somebody stole the cash, but we are not mentioning anyone's name because we either don't know it or we don't want to mention. It means that the doer of the action is missing in this sentence, and this is the passive voice sentence. The important information is that cash was stolen. So we use the passive voice to keep the readers focused on what has happened or what is happening, not on who did it or who was doing that. Right? Hope this point is cleared. Now let's see the sentence structure of the passive voice. There is something very important about passive voice structure. Every sentence in the passive voice contains two verbs. Now, what are those two words? The first is the be verb. The conjugated form of be verb means is, am, are, was, were, been, and being. Whenever I talk about tenses, whenever I talk about sentence structure, I always mention there that be verb is the most important verb in English language. If you don't know about be verb, please check out a video given in the description box all about be verb, right? Because we need to learn this to make passive voices. We need to learn this to make different tenses of English. And if you have any confusions about be verb, you will be confused in your sentence structures for sure. So please learn be verb properly. You will find the video in the description box. So the passive voice structure has to have a be verb and then a main verb, and it should be the past participle form of the verb that is called the third form of the verb, right? Here's the sentence structure. Subject, to be means is, am, are, was, or being, past participle form of verb, and the rest of the sentence. The example is the house is the form of be verb. Cleaned is the third form of verb. This is the main verb here. Every day is simply the extension. The house is cleaned every day. Now we are not mentioning who cleans the house. We are not concerned about the doer of the action. We are just telling the house is cleaned every day, which means that this is a passive sentence. The house itself is doing nothing, right? It's not performing any action. Someone else is performing the action of cleaning, but we are not mentioning it, right? So this is how we construct passive voice sentences with the help of a subject, a form of the be verb, and the third form of the main verb. Got it? Here are some more examples for passive voice. The thieves were arrested. The thieves, subject, but they are doing nothing. Were is the be verb. Arrested is the third form of verb. The thieves were arrested. Now, who arrested them? It's obvious, by the police. So you can simply omit this information. The thieves were arrested. This will be your sentence, and we mostly have sentences like this when we read some reports or when we are watching the news channel, right? Or when we are reading some scientific reports. We'll see it later that where we use passive voices, but you can see here that it's just not important to tell that who arrested the thieves, right? Another sentence is, are the rooms cleaned every day? Someone is just not concerned who cleans the room because it's obvious that some cleaner will be cleaning the room or whoever is doing. It doesn't matter. What matters is if the rooms are clean or not. Okay? Are the rooms cleaned every day? Are here is the be form of verb. Clean is the third form of verb. The room's here, working as a subject, but it's not performing any action. Every day, it's simply the extension, or if you want to give it a name of a part of a speech, so it's an adverb here. Hope it's pretty clear now. But we will see a few more examples with active and passive voice. In active voice, we will write a sentence: Is Anna visiting us today? Passive voice: Will we be visited by Anna today? Active voice: Remove your shoes. Passive voice: Shoes should be removed. Active voice: They called off the meeting. Passive voice: The meeting was called off. Done. Now the next thing. When to use active voice and when to use passive voice. Now we know the usage, we know the structure, but when to use any of them. And this is the main point. Some people think that if they are using passive voice a lot, they are making good sentences. But remember, if you use passive voice a lot, you will not get good marks in your exams. If you are sitting in an exam, don't use passive voice unless it is really needed, right? Use the active voice in any sentence that focuses on the doer of the action. Unless the majority of your writing is scientific or reporting incidents involving unknown perpetrators, most of the sentences you write should be in the active voice. In simple words, if you are writing a scientific report or you are reporting some incidents in which the doer of the action is either not mentioned or is obvious, you can use the passive voice. But if this is not the case, use active voice most of the time, please. The passive voice is meant for sentences where you need to emphasize the target of an action or the action itself rather than who or what is performing the action. This is something quite important to remember. We only use passive voice when we are not concerned with who and what is performing the action, but we are concerned about the action or the target of the action, right? Let's try to change an active voice sentence to its passive form. They invited 100 people to the wedding. They is the subject, invited is the verb, 100 people is the object, to the wedding is the extension of the sentence. Now let's make it passive. 100 people invited is the past form, so we will write be verb were invited, third form of verb, to the wedding. We are not writing who invited. 100 people were invited to the wedding, right? Similarly, you have different be verbs according to the tense. That's why I'm saying again and again that please learn be verb. If your sentence is in present simple tense and you want to make the passive of it, you need to use the be verb is, am, are, and then the third form of verb. Past simple will take was, were form of be verb and then the third form. Present perfect has been and have been and the be verb. Present continuous will take is being and are being and then past perfect, past participle form of verb. Past continuous be form of verb will be was being, were being, and then the past participle form. You can take a screenshot of this chart, or I can give you something better than this where you have all the tenses mentioned. If you want to change present simple to passive voice, these are the changes. They make cars in Germany, cars are made in Germany. Mother is baking a cake is being baked by mother. J.D. Salinger wrote The Catcher in the Rye. The Catcher in the Rye was written by J.D. Salinger, and so on. You can just read it, take a screenshot of it, and save it with you. I hope you have got the idea pretty well. And if yes, so let's check your knowledge. Here's the quiz for you. Let's see if you can perform well. Which of the following sentences contain passive voice? Read it. I'm counting to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's the answer. The cake was baked by my grandmother. Question 2. Change this active voice sentence into passive voice. The company hired a new manager. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A new manager was hired by the company. Question number 3. Change this passive voice sentence into active voice. The painting was admired by the entire gallery. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The entire gallery admired the painting. Question 4. Decide whether this sentence is in passive or active voice. The novel was written by a famous author. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's passive voice. Question number 5. Identify the error in the following passive voice sentence. The car will be repaired by the mechanic. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The car will be repaired by the mechanic. We use the past participle form of verb, and here we can see the base form of verb. Number 6. Choose the news headline that uses passive voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. New legislation passed by the government to protect endangered species. Number 7. Which of the following sentence structures typically indicates the use of passive voice? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Subject plus verb to be plus past participle form of verb. And if you have got all of them right, so well done! You have got it. If you want to practice more on active passive voice, I'm giving a website link in the description box. You can click on that link and you will land on a website where you can see the quiz of active passive. Try that, improve your knowledge, and keep learning. Hope you have got something useful from today's video. If yes, so please hit the like and subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you soon with something new. Take care. Bye for now. And don't forget to make it a great day. Bye.